I am Nguyen Khoi, a student from Thăng Long High School for the Gifted, and specifically in English major. So let's get started right now, which started with my storytelling. That day, the ball in my hand, I bent low, forearm stretched straight, I shrugged. The second serve and then the third, I made them all. At that time, I was playing volleyball happily with my friends. Oh shit. The second serve and then the third, I was playing happily with my friends when I suddenly spotted the familiar way of Mrs. England's Ao, our English teacher. My chest tightened. Oops, it's coming. I said to my teammates, guys, I need to go check my NEC, which is the National English Contest results. They immediately nodded. Of course they would, because they knew that it isn't just about some random personal achievement for me, but the NEC, my performance day, determined the whole province academic standing. And there I was, dashing towards Mrs. England. Good afternoon, teacher, I said to her, but barely slowing down, I continued my way. So why? Why didn't I ask for her result? Because I already knew I had failed. So why was I running? I wasn't just running, I was escaping because I was scared. For 30 minutes, I haven't touched the ball. All I did was to hide at the edge of the courts. Though serve was a less desperate attempt to save some pride before I could excuse myself and hide. You see, the NDC, the National English Competition, wasn't just some random competition for me. Beyond pride or recognition, it is my shield. Whenever I am faced with unfamiliar challenges or the steps that I fear that my weaknesses is going to be exposed, I would retreat behind this shield. Because I have already excelled in one of the most prestigious competitions in Vietnam. So what's with some sport that I am not good at? And that's what I thought. And at the moment that I needed the shield the most, this message hits me. Shit. And then I felt that shield cracked into pieces and I was exposed both on and off court. And that is all because of imperfections. In the days that followed, I sat on the weather rock stairs, staring at my classmate playing volleyball so happily. But this time it's different. I knew that without the NEC status, if I make a mistake, I couldn't hide. But the court came alive in ways I couldn't ignore. The smiles, the laughter, the teases, and even our hugs after the narrow wins. It is so fun and so alive. Hi, can I join? Before I can second guess myself, I heard my mouth shouting. And there I was, on the court, continued embarrassing myself, of course. But each moment revealed more of my clumsy move, but it also revealed more of my unexpected capabilities. I won ducks a powerful spike from the opponent. Pure luck, perhaps, but its thrill was undeniable. And gradually, excitement replaced fear, and I felt myself enduring more and more volleyball matches. But still, a familiar pattern emerged. Whenever I messed up and made a wrong move, I would rely on these rare and exceptional dicks to reassure myself that I am not that bad. And you see, this is what exactly happened with my NEC status. I would rely on one of my success to deflect attention from my other weakness. And I was determined to break the cycle this time. I set out to master digging as a skill. And there I was. I talked to Mỹ Ngọc, to Thảo Hương, to Tú, the other liberal, about how my legs suddenly froze when the ball came my way. And no longer caring about how awkward I may look, I told them to urge me to shout through matters during game. One like this, "Run, Khoi!" And this way, my friends were alerted. And not only from them, I received immense support from Nguyen Khoi, from Wang, and from every of my teammates. With their support, I improved quickly. That's when I realized imperfections weren't burdens. They were our privileges to receive support and to grow. You see, by admitting my disadvantage, I created myself a new advantage in which I was constantly receive support from my friends and therefore can now enjoy the sport that I always loved. And this, I realized that this is not only true on the volleyball court, but also off the court and for every aspect of my life. In math, where I constantly suck, I have Mỹ Uyên and Han Dung who constantly allowed me to accompany through countless math problems, no matter how many times I stuck. And with this, I have scored in 1540 on the SAT, becoming one of the most highest scorers in the world. And with this, in essay writing, I also had Đại Nhật and Châu Bảo who were willing to share their generous advice, no matter how hard, how difficult for them to get it. You see, if it hadn't been for these challenges, for these imperfections, I wouldn't have the daring to ask support from the others, and I wouldn't have known their gratitude, their resilience, their patience, and their kindness towards me. And with this, I have grown gratitude for the classmates that I'm studying with, for the school that I'm going to, and also the family I was born to. I was grateful for literally everyone in my life because thanks to them, I am who I am today. With this, I no longer kept this lesson to myself, but I was determined to pass this on to the others. And that started with Road to Thăng Long, an English mentorship project for the disadvantaged students. Well, let me tell you about one specific mentee here. She, unlike us, who are spoiled with choices, with experienced teachers like Mrs. Yoon, Mrs. Uyên, Mrs. Le, Mr. Hai, everyone was so grateful, and they can get access to high quality education. This girl grew up in a far-flung areas when access to education was not that prevalent, and not many people made it into our Thăng Long High School for the gifted. And at that time, even worse, she was constantly discouraged and even refused by her teachers to give her mentorship because she doubted her potential. Even some of them said that you're wasting your time. And upon hearing this, I was frustrated because how could a teacher say that to a mentee, right? And at that time, having learned about my mindset, about imperfection, I was determined to turn into the action mode. What can I do? I asked myself. And at that time, I assumed the answer to be to give her more mentorship, to give her more teaching, so I myself can compensate her lack of support. But I was wrong. At that time, she asked for none of that. Instead, she asked on how to find reliable practice materials, on how to fix these practices on her own. Or in short, she asked on how to study on her own effectively. At that time, I was kind of surprised because with my confidence in English and in mentorship, I believed that I can help her. But she didn't ask for that. But there is nothing else I could do. And at that time, later on, I found out that based on my guidance and my experience, she crafted herself a plan. And based on this, whenever she felt any more strength, any more flaws, she would stick to this. And she could improve this flaw without relying on any external support on her teachers, on even mentors like me. And this has become her greatest strength, independent learning, when she didn't rely on anyone. And with this, I realized that if I had been insisted on teaching her, on holding her hand bit by bit, I would have prevented her from developing independent learning and the resilience that is now her most remarkable power. And that's when it also hit me. Imperfections don't always need fixing. Within the right perspective, they are our own greatest strength. That is in a sense, what the anti-deficit is all about. Here, instead of lamenting, hating your disadvantages, you recognize it. Because just like Hado, that mentee, I guess, she didn't feel discouraged by her disadvantages, but the initial lack of support allowed her to transform it into the independent learning. And I believe that with this mindset, you must have been also like Kato. Imagine when you face a setback, I believe that you must have learned something, a new knowledge, a new skill that is now accompanying you through every stage of your life. So, after all, I'm really grateful for all of the failures in my life, whether that is the failure in the national English contest, the failure on the volleyball court, or every failure that I faced with my personal and my academic life. Indeed, it left me shattered my identity. It left me pondering about my self-worth, my ability, and my confidence. But after all, it is all worth it. Just as General Secretary Do Lam, my charismatic leader, once said, for a body to be healthy, it must endure a plan to rid itself of a tumor. And just like that, these painful moments, yes, while challenging, were necessary for me to shed the toxic obsession with perfection. If it hadn't been for these sufferings, I might have stuck myself in an endless chase for flawed records, for flawless achievements, and I wouldn't have been daring enough to step into familiar challenges that didn't guarantee me success. And what would that have cost me? I would have missed the pure joy of the playing volleyball under the breathtaking sunsets of Delhi with my classmates, surrounded by laughter and camaraderie. I would have missed the thrill of stepping into unfamiliar challenges, daring to break my self-limits, only to realize that I am improving in the fields that I used to fear the most. With this mindset, I come to see myself and see the world differently. For the first, I have become much more gentle with myself. I accept every part of me, whether it is my strength, my imperfection, my weakness. I appreciate those not as flaws to fix or not as something to boast about, but as doors to open to new opportunities. Just like how the failure in the NDC was supposed to leave me down, but instead it allowed me to thrive in volleyball. I believe that this weakness there, or that imperfection there, will allow me to lead me to some of the most unexpected career paths that I've never thought of, like becoming a full-time philosophist, like I am doing right now, or becoming a professional volleyball player. Mom, don't be disappointed. And second, I no longer see others through black and white lenses. Seeing someone better than me at math doesn't make me feel inferior. Or vice versa, seeing someone struggle at English doesn't make me feel less potential of them. Instead, to me, everyone is a work in progress, each with their strength waiting to bloom. And with that, I aspire to pursue more strengths, more skills, not for another safety net, of course, but to use this newfound strength to uplift others, just like how my friends did with me in volleyball. And with that, I inspire the others to do the same, to uplift everyone, to compliment everyone. And as a result, the powerful ripple effect is created and our own community is all empowered. So, story short, imperfections are not flaws to fix. They are opportunities to connect, to grow, and to thrive. The next time we face a mistake, an imperfection, please do not hide it. Embrace it. Let it teach you to improve in that very area. Let it teach you to connect you to the others. And let it open doors to a life far more extraordinary than perfection could ever do. In a world that celebrates perfection, dear guys and friends, it is our imperfection that makes us human. And that's where the magic begins. Thank you for listening.